Hi, today we are going to talk about where to plant garlic. It's extremely important to find the correct place for your garlic because otherwise whatever you do, you might just not get the harvest of your dreams. There are seven main considerations that you have to think of when selecting the perfect place for your garlic, and let's go one by one. So the first one is of course sun. Garlic loves full sun, although there is no sun now. But try to select the place where it will receive at least 8-10 hours of light every day. The place here behind me is a perfect place because there is no shade, there are no trees, so garlic, if planted there, would receive necessary amount of sun. But the one thing which people forget when they're thinking about this is that garlic will not be the only plant in your garden. There will be other plants which you might plant earlier or later, and then these plants might be tall and produce some shade which is not very good for your garlic. So not only consider shade during your planting time, but also shade which you will get after everything what you want to plant is planted. Now, the second thing to consider is soil. Garlic loves soil which is very rich in organic matter, but it doesn't like soil where you add organic matter just before planting or during the growth in big quantities. It's much better to plant garlic in the area where you added a lot of organic matter last year, and then there is still a lot remaining, but it's already digested by the soil microorganisms, and it's easier for garlic to take this. So do consider your crop rotation, and we will talk a little bit more about this later. But when you do select the place, there, for example, would be perfect after cucumbers if you put a lot of organic matter for your cucumbers in the previous year. Now, the third point, also related to soil, is pH. It's actually something that you do not need to consider because garlic can grow and thrive on a high variety of soil pH. So there is no need to think and to measure. Just go ahead and plant your garlic, whatever your soil pH is. I hope it's not 1 or 14, but within the normal ranges of pH of soil, it should be fine. Now, the fourth point to consider is crop rotation. I will definitely make a video on crop rotation soon because it's a very important, I think it's actually single most important thing that you can do for your plants in order to get great harvests. So in terms of garlic, the crop rotation means that first of all, you cannot plant garlic in a place where it was growing anytime in the past at least 3-4 years. Now, why is that? First of all, because every plant gets necessary feeding from the soil, and when it already grew there in the previous year, it got everything that it needed, right? So it's depleted specifically those components of soil, and now when you plant the garlic, it might just not find them there, even if you add additional soil amendments. Now, garlic actually comes from the family of onions, which means that you should not plant not only where you planted garlic, but also where you planted onion in the past several years. It's also important from the point of diseases. Let's say onion maggot, which is the bug which is often a pest for garlic. So let's assume you planted it there in the previous year or in the previous 2 years, and it's still there in the soil even if you remove garlic, and then a few months later when it's struggling to get some food, you just plant another garlic or onion and it's super happy, oh, all the food, and here goes your harvest. So remember this: no planting garlic in a place where there was garlic or onion in the previous year. Now, where is good to plant garlic. It's actually good, as I said, under cucumbers, but anything related, courgette, pumpkin, anything related to this, again, because first of all they are compatible, but also because you would usually put a lot of soil amendments when you grow your cucumbers. Now the next point, fourth point, when you plant garlic in a soil, you need to ensure that this place is not where it gets very, very wet early in spring. So when your snow melts, and yes, all my videos are for temperate climate, so we're going to talk about snow. So when your snow melts, you need to make sure that it doesn't stay for a very long without being absorbed by the soil in that area where you want to plant garlic, just because you usually plant it in autumn and it's going to rot instead of growing. Now the sixth point is actually something that I touched a little bit in my first video of this series, which is why you want to plant garlic. I recommend you to check this video, and I actually recommend you to click on the subscribe button below and bell next to it, so you get all the notifications and you get the videos about garlic and about other gardening gardening in soil, gardening in hydroponics, gardening in pots and in containers video. So do subscribe. Anyway, so where garlic, you might want to plant garlic next to tomatoes and next to carrots. The reason is that they have a very strong smell, or which pests of these two plants don't like. So there are chances that if you plant next to it, you would suffer less from the pest of tomatoes and carrots. But again, keep in mind, as I said before in my other videos, if you do that, you might save your carrots and tomatoes, sorry, but you will probably not get a huge harvest of garlic. So you might still, if you want to grow garlic to eat, you might still want to grow garlic somewhere else in addition to that. Now, the last point is point number seven, that it usually doesn't grow well with other plants. So tomatoes and cucumber is one example, but other plants might also not be the good companion plants for garlic, just because the substances they seclude from their roots would not be substances that garlic is neutral for. They will inhibit its development. So garlic is usually planted as a separate culture, just garlic, but it can also be planted in next to strawberries. Next to strawberries, or next to lettuce. So actually here I planted, let's see if I can show you. I planted it next to strawberries last year, and you can still see, let me show you again, you can still see that I didn't get all the garlic properly because I didn't want to damage strawberry. So there is still some new garlic is coming, which is great for my strawberries. But anyway, and also you can plant, as I said, it next to lettuce, because garlic and lettuce have different timing for their active growth, so they would not disturb each other, and they both would work together. And then you can save a little bit on soil, because you would need less soil to plant these two crops. So these are the 7 main considerations for how you are going to plant, for how you can choose the place where to plant garlic. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about when to plant garlic. Thanks.